Should you bring your whole self to work? Hi there, everyone. I'm Jeff, and this is Plain English, where we help you upgrade your English with current events and trending topics. I think one time I compared it to adding spinach to a fruit smoothie. You enjoy the fruit flavor so much, you don't realize you're getting the spinach at the same time. And that's what it's like here. You enjoy the topic so much, you don't realize you're getting better at English the whole time. Anyway, this is lesson number 483 for Thursday, July 7th, 2022. The full lesson is at plainenglish.com/483. Have you heard the term, bring your whole self to work? If you work for a large international company, you've probably heard some version of this slogan. When I was researching this lesson, I found article after article uncritically espousing the idea that people should bring their whole authentic selves to the workplace. On today's lesson, we'll put that idea to the test. In the second half of the lesson, we'll talk about the English expression on the surface, and JR has a song of the week. Let's get going. When a company urges you to bring your whole self to work, the company is encouraging you to be open and authentic about your life with your colleagues so as to form better interpersonal relationships. If you don't feel comfortable sharing important things about your life with colleagues, the thinking goes, then you can't build the trust needed to really succeed. This is especially important in an age of knowledge work. If a team has to work together to solve a problem or create something new, then the team members get better results if they know, like, and trust one another. But if everyone is pretending to be a rigid, perfect, professional version of themselves, if everyone is hiding the things that make them truly human, then it's hard, if not impossible, to build that trust. The idea is, in your conversations at work, you should feel free to share things that are affecting your life inside and outside the office. If you're nervous about an upcoming presentation, it's okay to tell your colleagues you're nervous. If you're worried about a sick relative, share that with them too. If you've just broken up with a romantic partner, don't feel like you have to keep it a secret. This seems like a positive message on the surface. If I'm working on a team, for example, and if I know someone was up late visiting a relative in the hospital, I don't want that person to feel like he has to dial into a 7:30 a.m. call. I'd rather know something's going on so we can redistribute the workload. Likewise, if I'm nervous about a big project, I should be able to say I'm nervous and have the team around me offer their support. But it's possible to take this advice to bring your whole self to work, it's possible to take this advice too literally. Let's start with oversharing. We live in polarized times. Imagine if one person brought her full self to work, decked out in campaign buttons for one political candidate. And imagine if her colleague brought his full self to work and couldn't stop talking about the opposing candidate. Would they, or any of the people sitting near them, get any work done? Is either one of them likely to be promoted to be a team leader if they're both seen as polarizing? Oversharing can cause unnecessary conflict if you're not careful. Second, a workplace might be friendly, but it's not a free-for-all. You have to respect the organization's hierarchy and basic business purpose. An executive at HSBC, a bank, was caught joking that the risk of climate change was exaggerated. He thought the finance industry placed too much importance on the risks of climate change. His opinion contradicted the bank's official position, and he was suspended. You may have also seen that a group of SpaceX employees brought their whole selves to work when they wrote an open letter. The letter criticized the SpaceX CEO, Elon Musk, for posting distracting and unhelpful messages on Twitter. Elon was being his authentic self on Twitter. The employees were being their whole selves when they objected. The employees were swiftly fired. They may now be wishing they had brought a bit less than their full selves to work at SpaceX. Finally, a little bit of inauthenticity may be required in some business situations. If you're starting a big project and you're worried about finishing on time, should you authentically share that worry with your team? Maybe, but maybe you should also try an inspiring message even if you don't fully feel it. A little bit of false bravado is sometimes called for. Similarly, if you're an introvert trying for a promotion, you may want to close your door and lock your whole authentic self in a small office and put your messaging apps on Do Not Disturb. But what you really need in the moment is to be out working the room, forming relationships, even if that's not what you authentically feel you want or can do. Now, none of this is to say that you have to create false personas to wear in the office, only to shed the persona when you log off for the night. But I do mean to say that a workplace is a shared endeavor where rules and norms exist. People are complex, and the whole messy complexity of our lives doesn't necessarily belong in the workplace. Bringing a touch of humanity into the office is a good thing, but so is leaving a little bit to the imagination. Sometimes I think companies are being inauthentic themselves when they say we should bring our whole authentic selves to work. They can't possibly mean it. I think what they mean is that there's this unspoken set of acceptable personal things to bring to work. But that set of acceptable things is different in every place. Now, if you listened to my message last week, you know that I'm no longer part of a traditional office. But when I was, for those, 18 years, I brought a certain amount of myself to work. A certain amount means just some. Bring an amount that you decide. And for me, the amount and the different parts changed based on the workplace, the team, the times, things like that. And it worked well for me. So if you want my advice, bring a certain amount of yourself to work. Today, we're going to talk about how things seem, even if they're not truly that way. We're going to use the expression on the surface. What color is a golf ball? Golf balls are white, right? At least most of them. But that's just the surface. That's just the part you see right away. If you slice a golf ball open, it looks much different. I saw a YouTube video where someone sliced open a golf ball and it was pink on the inside. I want you to keep that in mind as we talk about on the surface. A golf ball might be white on the surface, on the outside, but it could be a much different color on the inside. So what color was that golf ball? It was white on the surface, but pink inside. Try this one out. On the surface, he appeared confident, but he was really very nervous speaking in front of so many people. What we see is a confident person up at the microphone talking in front of a lot of people. That's what we can see. That's like the white on the golf ball. But the truth is, he was nervous giving that speech. We just didn't see that part. We only saw the part that was on the surface. How about this one? On the surface, she's nice, but she's really just trying to get you to reveal your secrets. Have you ever known someone like that? On the surface, what you see, what you can perceive, is that the person is nice and friendly. But the truth is, the person just wants you to tell a secret. So this is talking about how people seem, either in general or in a moment. You can also use it for things. On the surface, your new iPhone might look like a pocket computer, but it's also a life-saving device because it can call an ambulance if the accelerometer detects that you've been in a car crash. Did you know that? Every iPhone has a component called an accelerometer, and the accelerometer on this new version can detect if you're moving at a fast rate of speed, like in a car, and if you suddenly stop, like if you've been in a sudden crash. And if it detects that movement, then it can call an ambulance. So on the surface, what we see, what we perceive, is that the new iPhones are great phones, and they are. But in addition to that, they are life-saving devices. So how did you hear it today? Bring your whole self to work. That's the business slogan we've been talking about today. On the surface, that seems positive. You don't have to fake anything at work or hide any part of your personality. But if you dig a little deeper, as we did in today's lesson, you find there are some reasons to doubt whether companies truly mean it when they say, bring your whole self to work. JR picked a classic for this week's Song of the Week. He picked Twilight Zone by Golden Earring. It came out in 1982. It's popular on classic rock radio stations here. JR said someone played it at work on an endless loop until someone finally told him to change it. But it was too late. They all had the final line stuck in their heads when the bullet hits the bone. You don't have to play it on an endless loop, but you can add this one to your English playlist. Twilight Zone by Golden Earring. On the surface, Plain English is a twice-weekly podcast, but it's so much more than that if you sign up for a membership at plainenglish.com, and there's a free level there too, just in case you want to get started without committing to anything too serious. Not that it's much of a commitment to sign up for a higher level membership. I mean, if you ever sign up for Plain English Plus, and if you decide in your first month that it's just not right for you, send me a note and I'll give you your money back. A day, 2 days max, and you'll get a refund. But listen, I understand not everyone is going to want to do that. So that's why we have the free membership. And if you're not in there yet, go to plainenglish.com and click the buttons to join, and you'll be able to sign up for the free membership, which comes with a lot of great English learning resources. Well, that's all for today's lesson. We'll be back next week, as always, on Monday. See you then.